Shalom, want to start off souls by giving all praise to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushua, Ba'Shem Kodash, double honors to the apostle of great millstone, and honors to you brothers doing the work of the most on truth and in sincerity. Yahweh is a raw name of whom the world ignorantly calls God, Jehovah Yahweh. His raw name is Yahweh, and his son's true name is Yahweh Shai. And when we pray Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba meaning in, Ha meaning then, Sham meaning names, Yahweh in the name of Yahweh Shai. It's a quick one. Something that always annoys me. We know what it is. The people in this world have no idea, of the concepts of, what real race is according to the scriptures, right? Which is all about the seed, right? Not about the mother, not about anything else, right? This is Numbers 1:18, right? It says, and they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names from 20 years old and upwards by their polls, right? But that's the point there, is by the house of their fathers, right? So you are what your father is, right? And you'll see things, where people will be like, he's trying to be black, he's trying to do this. You hear comments about that for people like Ed Sheeran, right? When you look into Ed Sheeran, a lot of music that ain't even got Ed Sheeran on the titles written by Ed Sheeran, right? And then when you see his studio session stuff, so like stuff where it's not like his album, but it's like he's on BBC Radio 1 live or something, and they've got him in the studio, and you see what he's able to do. You can't tell me that guy's not a J, right? He'll have like a loop pedal, and he's making an entire track, right, live, mind you, making an entire track live using legit just a guitar and a microphone, right? There's a song that he has. What was it? Let me find it real quick. Right, this is it. I remember, man, when I first watched this, right? You need me, I don't need you, right? Ed Sheeran, I think it says what, live lounge? Yeah, well, live. You look at this, and man's making a track legit from his guitar. Obviously, I won't play it, right? But you just see it there. All he's got his guitar, he's got his loop pedal, right? He's singing, he's playing the guitar, working the foot pedal, right? That level of, ability, you can't be saying, oh yeah, that's Edomite, right? Esau ain't got that ability, and on beat as well. Right? But like I said, it's something that, always annoys when, people are acting black, because one, what the hell does black mean? Which is why we stay the hell away from that term, because when you're when you're just grouping things by a color, right? What does it mean? Right? It don't mean anything, right? And then basically I'd I'd seen this online, right? UK Drill taking over South Korean television, and when you look at the album Show Me the Money, I think it's on YouTube, and you listen to some of these tracks, them man are vibing, man. Right, them man, the lyricists, the beats are hard, some of them, man. Right, because there's been a few seasons of this, like if you can think of it like Pop Idol, but for like rap and R&B, right? But this is it, that spirit of Jake is always gonna be, people, the Israelites that resonate with it, it's always gonna find them, right? But then you see, dumbass comments like this. They're culture vultures. I know, right? I've been saying this for years. They've been appropriating black culture and Chinese culture for years, right? Which is ignorant as hell, especially when you consider that the language has roots in Chinese. So it's just like you fools, right? It's like saying, the English, the Americans are appropriating English culture. It's stupid, right? But that's it. That's part of the, the covering that has been put, on these people, man. Right, the fact that they can't see, things like this, which are important. But enough of this. Let's jump into the scriptures, right? This is Isaiah 11:11. Just jump straight to it. It says, and it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people. Right, referring to the elect. It says, which shall be left from Assyria, and from Egypt, and from Pathros, and from Cush, and from Elam, and from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. Right now, that was Korea, for example, which isn't technically an island, but you got Japan right next to it, and in Japan, you've got a whole similar kind of what you call it, culture, right? That you have, that's all about that kind of Jake a culture, and basically being into rap, being into the so-called Black American thing, because once again, that spirit, when it resonates with you, it resonates, right? But yeah, there you see, you got Jakes that's gonna come from all over, look like all over, have the spirit of a Jake, right? But once again, there's this idea that Jake has to look a certain way, has to be a certain way, has to act a certain way, right? And I remember a brother had said this before, right? About how you might meet a so-called black man, right? But he ain't your typical so-called black man, the way he kind of acts and whatever, what have you. Right now, make change his color to be a so-called white man, and you'll be thinking, oh, that's a Edomite. But no, it's a Jake, right? Because and it's forgetting this idea that Jake has so many different ways of being, so many different ways of carrying themselves and conducting themselves. But once again, you can only be a Jake if you're a hip hop star and you play basketball, right? That ain't the case, man. Continuing on, it says, and he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. So the nation of Israel is dispersed throughout the entire world, man. Right? Once again, one thing I find very interesting about them Koreans, right, is, what do you call it, is how much of, for instance, a lot of their men are circumcised, right, which which in that Asia region is kind of uncommon, right? Most people don't in that part of Asia don't really circumcise like that, right? They love fried chicken. People are know. They're known for Korean fried chicken. That's a common thing. It's a common. It's a big thing. People. You speak to people like, yeah, man, Korean fried chicken. And of course, you want to eat it, you got to be careful because they love fucking, adding in them abominations, right? But there are certain things about Israel and our spirit that comes out, right, in different places, just like how in the West Coast, right, they do certain things just naturally, right, and the scriptures speak about that, right, making a law unto themselves, right. But yeah, let's see what other precepts we can get on the Israelites, foreigners, and just close it up. Because I say, people that can't see it, they can't see it, and that's it. What can we do after that? So it is one I'm looking for, in particular. I can't find the one I'm looking for. This is Ezekiel 20:34, and I'll bring you out from the people, and will gather you out of the countries wherein ye are scattered, right, with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out. So the Lord is the one that ultimately scattered us, right? He scattered us into these different nations, right, and then to do into basically to be with these different heathens, right? This is Deuteronomy 20:64. This was the curse, right? It says, and Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people. And when it says all people, it means all people. Right? So you're gonna have Amalekites that are really Israelites, man. Right? They gonna look like an Amalekite, they're gonna have the nose of an Amalekite, right? They may even do all of the dodgy things of the of the Amalekites, might read the Talmud, right? All of that sort of stuff. But guess what? They're really Israelites, right? And that is the understanding, knowing that our people are scattered amongst all people. I'll give you an example as well. Man, you look at Hans Zimmer, man. Hans Zimmer looks like just an Edomite of Edomites, right? But however, if you're making a film, guess who you get? If you're making a big blockbuster film, guess who you're getting on that track? Hans Zimmer, man. All right, one of the greatest film composers of our time, hands down, right? And this is the thing: we need to equate greatness with Israel, because that's what we are. We're the greatest nation, right? what is that? What is it? That's what was it? 6 4 6 so 7 and 6. Oh, the dust off this. So just load in, bear with me. Right, yeah, just load literally as I pause it all. So Deuteronomy 7 and 6, for thou art an holy people unto Yahweh thy power, and Yahweh thy power hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself. No, it doesn't give you a what you call it, a word for. Oh, it does. Yeah, it does. This is sagala. It says shut up, wealth has closely shut up, jewel, peculiar treasure, proper good, special possession, property, valued properties, peculiar treasure, right? So, the Lord hath chosen Israel, right? That's why he surnamed us Israel. Yasha Allah, he Prince Power, right? He's the Son of God, right? It says, hath chosen thee to be a special people, so to be a treasure unto himself, above all people done upon the face of the earth, right? And that's it. So that's basically when you consider greatness, you got to consider Israel, right? No one's gonna be you ain't gonna be the best at X in the world, and then not be an Israelite. That is our spirit, right? To be the best, okay, and that's ultimately it. But then the ultimate litmus test, right? In the way that we have, right, ultimately comes down to, do they vibe with this truth ultimately, right? Because even of those that are on this sign, if you will, right, ultimately, if they don't believe, the scripture says in Romans 9 and 6, they are not all Israel which are of Israel, right? But then if you have an individual that's in this truth, that understands these scriptures, that is going into these scriptures, that believes, right, but then he may not look like the tribes. He may once again, he may look like an Amalekite, right? If his spirit runs with this, then guess what? He's an Israelite. Right? Romans 8:16, the Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of the Most High. Right? And I said, when it comes to this truth, that's the ultimate litmus test, man. Right? Because you have people in this thing of ours that will look down on a man because he looks different, right? Yet he knows more about your culture. If that you're trying to say, oh, but you're not really black. He knows more about it than you, right? Because he knows this truth, because he understands this truth, and more so he's connected with the Most High, right? So yeah, I'm gonna label this one, undercover. Oh, so is it a culture vulture, undercover Hebrew? Of course, we know, I'm speaking about Hebrew Israelite, but yeah. So as always, Lord, what I was edifying. To the next time you say Shalom.